This episode of Walt Disney World Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, the official travel agency of WDW Today. And they're a travel agency that provides personalized service for you to help you with your next trip to Walt Disney World. It helps take out all the hard stuff and just makes it easy for you. So you can focus on making those memories for you and your family and not worrying about booking the little things. They take care of that for you. Give them a try. Visit MEI and Mouse Fan Travel at www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, July 23rd, 2008, and this is episode 439 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hodgeberg of StudioCentral.com. And Len, I've got to settle this bet over here. Is Van Halen still together?
They are still together. In fact, I'm anticipating the world tour announcement any day now.
Now I owe Newell $20.
Yeah.
Pay up. Pay up.
That's a sucker's bet. Yeah, go ahead.
Soon to own many of my furniture because I have to sell it all in order to make up the money for that bet for Newell. It's Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome, Mike.
Ooh, good. I like that new couch that you bought.
Yeah, it's Mike Newell's couch now.
Nice. I'll take it.
And joining us as well is Mike Scope of allears.net. Mike, is it snowing yet in New Hampshire?
Never stopped. Never stopped. But Matt, did you know that the convention center is host to a galaxy of new ideas from other planets?
TTA.
Yes,
and also joining us once again is the fabulous Annette Owens of MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Did I say it right?
I'm not real sure. You got stuck on the fabulous part. So
Fabulous Annette Owens.
Fabulous.
There you are. Go for it, Annette. Welcome.
Oh, thanks, guys.
It's Wednesday. We're answering your listener questions. And we're going to start with a question from, it's not really a question, it's more of a comment, from Chase Bozegard, who's the co-host of the 2-in-1 Showcase podcast on comics from New Orleans, Louisiana. Writes, I don't know how you feel about the closing of Adventurers Club, but there are a lot of people and listeners who love it and want to help in trying to keep it a part of Disney magic. My wife has started a website dedicated to saving it through a letter writing campaign. The link is www.kungalooshforever.com, and we would appreciate any help you could give us. Chase, I'll put a link in the show notes for you so that you and your wife can hopefully do some good there.
You know, it would work really well in Adventureland and in the Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, but I mean, putting it in a park would definitely lose a lot of the value because they could get money for it otherwise. But yeah, it would make sense. I know what you're saying, Lon.
It'd be a great restaurant, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Studios. I think it should go in the studios.
Studios?
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah, okay.
Everything's a little bit better in the studios.
I can kind of see it. Okay. I'm with you.
That's right. Next email's from Jerry Garfinkel, who writes, Matt, I really enjoy all your shows. I'm a cast member at Epcot's Mouse Gear, and I only work several days as scheduled a week. At the end of October, I'll have been living in Dade City, Florida for 2 years. I moved from Clinton, Maryland, back of Andrews Air Force Base. I didn't know what to expect, but I really enjoyed it. Having been born and raised in Washingtonian, living in the country is very enjoyable. I commute about 60 miles each way, so with what the mouse pays, I break even with gas money. As a cast member, I find that your shows are very helpful. I found your info on beating the heat was especially helpful, and I pass the info on to my guests. In the Park Etiquette Revisited episode, I found the remarks about watching the fireworks very interesting. Having made the trip from Long Island, New York, and D.C. since March of '86 with 2 small children, sitting as close to the water at either Mexico or Canada was very important. But now with my son, who's Brad Garfinkel, whom you may have met with Fred Block during the first Star Wars weekends, his daughter, Miss Julia, who's almost 5, we're back to the same topic about firework and park parade etiquette. I believe kids come first. Maybe being a cast member at Disney's 4 Basics have helped me change my attitude about a lot of things, but there are certain things where kids take priority about the parades and fireworks that are the most important.
What are the 4 basics?
It's part of their training for Disney.
What are they?
I don't know.
Do you know what the 4 are?
No.
Like being
Earth,
like in the
Earth, Wind, Fire.
Are we singing?
And
What are
the
we
Commodores? What?
Harry, here come the emails from everyone who's explaining what the 4 things are. Although I could probably ask my fiance; she probably knows. One last thing: when my son and Fred were there for Star Wars weekends, we were having a soda or beer at the land. When we started to leave, I saw an Afro-American mother with 2 adorable daughters who had been made up at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Being out of costume, I walked up to them, introduced myself as a cast member, and told them that the girls looked absolutely adorable, which they did. I hope that's made their special moment. When I moved from D.C. to Florida, I never thought I would be a Disney cast member. Even though the pay is not great, just being able to talk with our guests makes my day. So we thank Jerry for that email. Great email. Next email is from Keith from Ottawa, Canada. Writes, yes, we are driving from Canada. Hope I don't strangle my kids before we get there. Boy, if
Good luck.
Yeah, really. Well, not all of them anyway. Go ahead.
We're heading to the world by car this September and are concerned about the possibility of being there during a hurricane. Is there anything anywhere on property to safely park one's car during a storm, or should I be prepared to call my insurance company if I plan to stay during a hurricane? We'll be staying at both the Polynesian and Wilderness Lodge over a 2-week period. Since these ridiculously overpriced rooms are using up 99% of our budget, we'd rather not have them come down in a rental car, and flying down isn't really an option. Thanks for the help. Love your show. That's a good question. I mean, a lot of people, we talk about, what you can do to keep yourself safe during a hurricane, but, obviously the one thing I would suggest is just making sure, your car's insurance covers that. I don't think you have to call it in specifically, but you want to make sure that, it does cover hurricane damage or the associated damage because of like flood. Because technically it's not the hurricane that damages your car. It's the flood that damages your car.
Good point.
Ask people in New Orleans about that. So you want to keep that in mind. Have any of you ever heard of anything about a safer place to park your car? There are no covered areas that I can think of.
No, I can't think of anything.
I would avoid
Stay away from trees.
Yeah, stay away from
that's what I was
trees
gonna say.
and
Actually-
light poles too.
Yeah.
What I've done, Matt, and I think I have a little bit of experience with this. When we were down there for Hurricane Charlie, I remember coming back in the early afternoon because we were told, they were going to turn off power all over Orlando or whatever. And when I was driving in the parking lot, I looked for 2 huge SUVs, and I parked right between them.
Perfect.
And I figured that my car was lower than the 2, so if a tree fell, it would hit their roofs and not mine. So that's what I did.
Next email's from Becky. Writes, hello, Walt Disney World nerds. We're planning a trip to Walt Disney World for this summer. I've never been to Walt Disney World, and the crowd levels are at 9 out of 10, but I'm preparing myself for it. For the first week, friends of ours will be there. They're newbies, and I have been tasked with the role of walking guidebook for the first 3 days with them. I love the fact that I get to be the tour guides for the newbies. I've done some heavy-duty research on touringplans.com. Does that get a ding?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
and have my Epcot and Magic Kingdom plan set. However, I'm really struggling with the Studios plan because I'm not sure where to fit in Toy Story Mania. I'm hoping it will have Fast Pass, but then again, we all know what happens when we assume. We want to plan on a late morning, sleeping in arrival with 3 little kids and 4 adults. 2 of the adults want to ride Rock and Roller Coaster as well. So she has 2 options. A, get the Fast Pass to Rock and Roller Coaster first thing around 11 a.m., head over to Muppets, do lunch, then take a chance that Toy Story Mania Fast Passes are gone, which they will be. Or get Fast Passes for Toy Story Mania first, and then say the heck with it to the grown-ups if all the Fast Passes for Coaster are gone by 1 p.m. I will tell you, Becky, to go with option 2. The Fast Passes for Coaster, even in the midsummer here, we're here in July. I've been in the parks in the mid-afternoon. There are, in mid-afternoon, 2, 3 o'clock, there are still Fast Passes for Coaster. There are none for Toy Story Mania. If you get there at 11, you might be able to get a Fast Pass for the end of the day, and that might work for you. If you get there a little bit earlier, like closer to 10 o'clock, I would say you have a much better chance of being able to get a Fast Pass. But really, what's been happening, especially during summer, is the Fast Passes for Toy Story Mania are gone by noontime at the latest. Len, do you have any insight you want to add to that?
No, I think that's definitely a good strategy, though. The Toy Story Mania is going to be the attraction that sucks up Fast Passes the fastest. You got to prioritize that, and the other stuff you can do single rider or whatever you need to do.
Right. Next email is from Cheryl from Westfield, Massachusetts. All right, hello, gentlemen. Quick question for you about Epcot Extra Magic Hours during Food and Wine Festival. When Epcot has extra magic hours, will the food booth stay open later? Thanks for answering my question, and thanks for the great podcast.
Good question.
Haven't you guys had an experience with that? I can't recall.
Past 9:30?
Yeah, like
Or 9? No.
Yeah, no.
They close them for Illuminations, right around Illuminations?
I think 8:45 is like last call.
Yeah. Next email is from Greg, where it's, I have to beg to differ with you on your March 21st podcast, which was episode 386, about the lack of quality at Cinderella's Castle for lunch. This was by far our best meal of the trip. Granted, the price is ridiculous, but if you have a daughter, or daughters, 3 in my case, it's a must-do at some point. We were shocked about how good the food was, rather, and we were expecting very little. We don't care much about food. We just hope that the kids get a good balanced meal. Disney, for us, is for the kids. We're not looking for fine dining. 2 disclaimers. My dad paid, so even though I knew it was ridiculous, I didn't feel the pain directly. And 2, they took us 30 minutes early, and our crew was spent and didn't think that we would have made it an extra 30 minutes anyway. in the middle of the summer, 101 degrees in Animal Kingdom. 2 days later, on our car gauge, and the kids were 4, 2, and still in my mom's belly. Clearly, we were desperate, but overly shocked at the quality of the food.
Well,
yeah. Here's the thing with food and quality. It's a matter, I think, of what there's a price to pay and there's what you get for it. I don't think the food is that great over there. I think it's okay. It's not bad. I don't. There's very few places I would say the food is bad. I think at worst it's mediocre or okay. But for the price, you really should be getting a lot better food experience, in my opinion. But if you enjoyed it, I understand what you're trying to say, Greg. The food wasn't as bad as we said. So,
right.
Hey, that's we value your opinion. Thanks for emailing it with us. Next email's from Mike from Mouse Extra, who writes, which of the two parks need new attractions more? Many consider Disney's Animal Kingdom a half-day park, but Disney's Hollywood Studios seems in flux in need of some new blood. Scopa, what do you think?
It's a pretty tough one, Matt. I think that the studios has fallen lately into it's a misnomer. I think the name is a misnomer. Maybe when we see the coming of what is it, American Idol?
Right.
Maybe that's going to change. I've always held the position that the Animal Kingdom was opened prematurely. I think that they should have waited until they had fully developed Beastly Kingdom, which I guess we're still waiting for. That's why many people consider Animal Kingdom a half day touring plan for that, and not a full day. I think you can make a case for both. The studios, at least you can spend all day in the studios. I'm not sure you can spend all day at the Animal Kingdom. Well, you could, but I don't know why you would.
I think, Mike, as much as I love the studios, and I would love for another attraction there, especially with Toy Story Midway Mania and American Idol opening up in January, if I'm going to be objective about it, who needs another attraction? Probably more. I would probably have to go with Animal Kingdom on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Next email's from Maggie in Illinois, who writes, my husband and I are thinking of going to Walt Disney World the week of Thanksgiving. We've been to Disney in September and January, but never during the max crowd times. Have any of you experienced Thanksgiving at Disney? Is it too crowded to be fun?
I haven't done Thanksgiving. I've done Christmas. Have you guys done Thanksgiving?
I was there a day or two after Thanksgiving. It was crowded. I don't think Thanksgiving is not as bad as, say, Christmas or July 4th or New Year's.
Well, Matt, you were there for 4th. You were in the parks for 4th of July this year. How was that?
I was in the studios. Let me tell you something. The studios was empty.
Really?
If you want, let me tell you something. I have pictures. I posted pictures of this. I'll post a link in the show notes too if you haven't seen it yet. Assuming there was no crowd to speak of, I showed up there at noontime on July 4th. They had just finished filling up the first parking lot. I walked on Tower twice. Really? I got in a single rider line for Toy Story Mania twice in 1 hour. Really, the crowd did not really come in until about 6 o'clock. The fireworks were at 9 o'clock, the special 4th of July ones. And I really think they were just overshadowed by the Magic Kingdom because everyone was going to the Magic Kingdom this year because they had that new fireworks show and Epcot. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to experience 4th of July without crowds and still see special 4th of July fireworks, it's the studios. Not to mention you can also see Fantasmic that night. You get 2 fireworks displays, really.
I'd still go with Epcot.
Yeah. It was a pleasure to be at the studios that day. But Thanksgiving, Annette, have you had any experience in Thanksgiving? Newell?
No, I've had it the week after Thanksgiving when the crowds are gone.
Right.
And Easter when they were parking on the grass at the Magic Kingdom. But
Annette, sorry. Newell,
No.
have you been there for Thanksgiving?
I've never been there for a major holiday.
Len, we have that trip. We've got to plan a trip.
We should talk about it. Actually, we should all go down.
We could have Scoba carving the turkey.
And telling us exactly what it was like.
Yep. I can tell you about the first Thanksgiving. Yep.
Yeah, we could have Annette dress up as Betsy Ross. It'd be perfect.
Exactly. Can't keep her out of the sewing machine.
We won't have corn. We'll have maize.
Maize, exactly. Maize.
Next email is from Michelle from Franklin, Massachusetts. All right, hopefully you guys can help me. Can you combine Disney Dining Experience and Disney Dining Plan at one table? My family of 4 will be on the Disney Dining Plan, and my parents who are not on the Disney Dining Plan will be there with us paying cash for their meals. Sure. But I have an annual pass Disney Dining Experience card. Can I use my discount as long as I'm dining with them? Thanks. Yeah. We're going in October, so I've allowed plenty of time for an answer. Yes. Yeah. You're right, Len.
Yep.
Just let them know at the beginning. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point, Nanette. Next email is from Lori from Palo Alto, California. Writes, hello, gentlemen, and Scopa. Ooh.
What?
Ooh, ow.
I think this one came from Mike Newell, to be honest with you. But.
Ixnay.
Lori writes, I'm a new listener to Walt Disney World Today and love the show. Thank goodness for Walt Disney World Today wiki so I can get all the inside jokes. Wow, she's new and she doesn't like you, Scopa?
Wow. It took us a long time. It took her right away.
Lori writes, my big
Good
question.
judge of character.
She must have children.
Lori writes, my big question is, when should I visit the world in 2009? I'm already planning using the 2008 unofficial guide. Thank you. My friend and I can go anytime except early June and Thanksgiving through New Year's. She has never been, and I have been for 10 years. We want to stay 8 nights and only do 4 parks. We're slow walkers. We want to stay on property, probably Caribbean Beach, and we intend to rent a car. We would obviously like to avoid summer season for both heat and crowds, and would happily go in January except for the park hours are so limited. Also, we love Disneyland at night, so we want to visit the world when the parks are open later, with evening parades, fireworks, etc. If I had my way, we'd be at Epcot every night for Illuminations. We are real night owls, and park closing at 5 or 7 p.m. just doesn't do it for us. So why don't we suggest for us nighttime hours with parks, yet avoid some of the major crowds? Should we brave spring break and deal with the crowds while avoiding the heat? Scopa, would you say I'm thinking October here. What do you think?
I think October would be good. I also think the last 2 weeks in August might work too.
It's still kind of hot there, and she wants to avoid the heat. So I'm gonna.
I mean, it's been I've been there in October, and it's been in the mid 80s and 90s in October too. Less likelihood of being hot in October. So yeah, I think that maybe the first 2 weeks might work.
Yeah, I would also recommend the first 2 weeks in February. Also although the crowd hours are more limited there. That's why I kind of mentioned October. Because you'll still have some decent crowd hours. But that's the problem with January, February is the hours can be much more limited.
Yep.
The other time, actually May. That's my other recommendation. May is a great time of year. It's warm. It's not hot. It's not hurricane season. The park hours start to get they're up there because they're gearing up for summer, and the crowds really aren't that bad. I really enjoyed May this past year in the parks.
Love bugs. Love bugs could be a problem for some people.
Oh, that's true. Next email's from Bobby Lilly, who writes, hey guys, just discovered your podcast and enjoyed listening to the archives. On your April 9th show, which was a listener questions episode, you discussed possible places to see Maleficent in the parks. However, I think you left out the obvious answer to the question. Doesn't Maleficent have a significant role in Fantasmic? Remember the dragon, but I'm pretty sure Maleficent was on stage as well. Thanks for all the time and thought you put into each show. You're absolutely right, Bobby. Although you can't meet Maleficent, but she is in the show, so if you're a Maleficent lover, obviously that'd be a good opportunity to be able to see her for a prolonged amount of time. But unfortunately, as a face meet character, it's kind of more difficult to meet her.
Wait a minute now.
Yeah.
Are we talking Maleficent or are we talking the Evil Queen? Are we talking two different people here?
Well, the Evil Queen is also in there. Isn't Maleficent turns into the dragon, right? I mean, that's her shtick.
I thought it was the Evil Queen who does that. I'm not sure.
You could be right about that.
I don't know.
Someone will correct this, I'm sure. So if you know the answer, just post it in this episode's show notes over there, and you can make fun of one of us for being wrong.
It's too bad we don't have a studios expert, huh?
That's too bad. Next email is from John from Madison, Wisconsin. Right, gentlemen and ladies, if present. Thanks for continuing to put out such a great show. For a long time, I disagreed with Mike Scope about his views on taking kids out of school for Walt Disney World vacations. Well, no more. When our son was in first grade, we took him out early in the school year and had a terrific time with no worries, and he's about where he should be on the educational track. This January, we made the same assumptions and pulled him out of his third grade class for a week. Big mistake. Despite the best intentions, homework and study on a trip rarely goes the way you plan. If you save studying for the end of the day, everyone is too exhausted to get very far. If you try to hit it early, there's extra anxiety due to opportunity cost. There are so many more fun things kids would rather be doing. Even so, I didn't think much of it. But now it is late April, and it's clear that our son has fallen behind with his math work. The work he does is good, but he's a week behind in classwork even now. You see, he's been just fine on subjects he likes naturally, but the challenging topics have been a struggle. My newfound advice is to wait until breaks and take advantage of the tips in the unofficial guide. If you know Disney so well, you'll have a great time no matter what the crowd calendar says. I hail to Mr. Scopo. Once again, he's right.
Matt, one of the things I wanted to point out is that It really works. It can work for young kids, like first to second graders. I think when you start getting into the third, fourth, and fifth grade, you may have an issue there. I think that this could be true for almost everyone. As you get into the higher grades, it becomes difficult. And I'd also like to point out that sometime this week, one of my blogs on All His Net's going to address some of the mailbag letters I've gotten regarding my position on children and taking them out of school.
Very good. Next email is from Randy Emmons of Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's, gents, I have a question for you and hope that you'll be able to help me out. I'm a Disney diehard, and when I'm at the World, I get up early, get to the parks that open, ride all the rides, and will even stay for extra magic hours in the evening. Every trip that I've taken has pretty much been full of running to get to all the attractions in. Now, I'm thinking about taking a second trip this year. I'm already going with my entire family this June, but thought about the possibility of taking a trip by myself. Could you help me out with some suggestions on what to do while going to the Disney World alone? This would be my first solo trip, and any suggestions that you can have would be appreciated. Maybe this would make even a good topic for an entire show.
Didn't we do a solo show one time?
It sounds like something we would do.
It does. Because we're just the guys to do it.
Scopa, any thoughts on the quick tips?
Well, on solo trips, I think that one of the nice things about solo trips, Matt, is that you can do whatever you want. And I think that a problem that a lot of people have, and I thought I was the only one that had this problem, is that when you're there solo, there are things that you forget to do, like, and I know this may sound foreign, but you forget to eat because you don't have
Seriously?
I'm serious. I'm serious.
I think that's a problem.
Yeah, really. No one does.
When I've been down there on solo trips, I've asked Carol, I said, make sure you call me and make sure I've eaten, because sometimes you get caught up in stuff and you say, oh, wow, let me look at this, let me look at that, and you forget to eat. I think that's something that so my point, I guess, Matt, is that maybe if you're going to go on a solo trip, make your ADRs before you go to make sure that you have, something there that's, okay, at 2:00 I have to be at Le Cellier, or, I have to be at Kona or whatever. So I think that's important, because you get caught up because you can do so much. Because you're alone, you don't have to say, okay, would you like to do this? You'd like to do that. Plus, you can go on all these attractions because you're a solo person. You can probably get on the attractions quicker.
Yeah, one fits in.
Single rider line. So that's the thing. You need to take advantage of that. But you got to be careful, because going solo is it can run you into it's different. It really is.
I think it's great because you get to go explore some areas you wouldn't normally do, especially if he's the type that's, go for the rides and stuff.
Yep,
Go take a trip around World Showcase and really go explore those countries, because there's a lot of things that if you have family around you, you're not going to be able to do.
The rest of the crew, I have an interesting show topic, or maybe just a question for the Wednesday show. I'm trying to plan a trip to the World for my family, August 24th and 31st, free dining. Got a great deal on 2 rooms for 2 adults and my son who's 21 and my daughter who's 17. But the airfare is around $1,300 to $1,500. And this is a crazy time of high gas prices. Maybe you could do a show about ways to save on transportation costs getting to the World. We live in Niagara Falls. Hello, Tacey.
Niagara Falls.
Good idea.
And we have been back September for schools. Driving in trains are not an option. That is a good idea. And we actually did one back in episode 425. We brought on Lou Mangello and everyone else that was here right now. We talked about this. So that might share some insight for you right there. I was very.
It's still cheaper to drive though than to take all those people, right?
It very well maybe. Yeah. Next email's from Brian from Fruitdale, Alabama, who writes, I need y'all's help on this one. I inserted the accent there.
That was nice. That was good, though. You should do that for every
question.
Every question from now on, yeah.
We'll be getting to the World soon for a trip to Pop Century. We have a room only for that night, and then start at the parks later on. What I need help with is when we get down to Walt Disney World, and we get to the boardwalk and downtown Disney, what would be the best way to get there from the boardwalk to downtown Disney? Drive, boat, or bus? Will they let me drive to the boardwalk and park? This is not covered in the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World. But he does give you a ding. But
you could definitely just you can definitely drive there to the boardwalk and park, because it's a boardwalk. They're expecting people to come to eat and drink and go to the clubs and stuff like that. So just say you're going to the boardwalk to do something
Eat, drink,
all-
and go to the clubs.
and go to the bars. Yeah, I mean, it probably wouldn't work at Sunday at 9 a.m., but
Yes.
Okay. Nick also wants to know, do you recommend hitting both water parks or just one? And if so, which one?
one.
What would you go? And I think
I
one
would
per
go
trip is fine.
Typhoon Lagoon.
Typhoon Lagoon?
Yeah.
Okay. I will not argue with that.
Without kids. I mean, with kids, Blizzard Beach.
Well, it's my favorite time of the show. It's the time where we make Mike Newell pick the last question of the day.
Hey.
So Mike, I know, Mike, you never get this option.
I'm surprised.
Right.
Very surprised, I'm sure. Okay,
Mike,
here,
go.
here are the options you got, Mike. You got fine dining at Disney.
How do they know?
You've got urgent, a net from United Kingdom. Who knows what it could be about.
Ooh.
And
Hear his
DVC to buy or not to buy.
To buy or not to buy?
I think the urgent
That is the question.
email has some sort of urgency into it. So let's go with urgent for
Besides, we
200.
can hear the accent. Matt's going to do the accent.
Oh, sorry, master the accent.
Oh, let's not offend anyone now. Come on.
Yeah, only people from New Jersey. I mean, really. Next email is from Annette, who's better known as Disney 1860. Hoorah! All right, so hello there, guys and gals. I hope you're all well. Annette here from the United Kingdom in Bedfordshire. Just a quickie. Was coming over for 15 days on the 2nd of September 2008, and we're on the Disney dining plan. But I'm trying to find a list of the counter service locations in the parks. I cannot find a list of them anywhere. I was hoping that you can help. I wanted to give it to my son and my husband so they know what's what. I would recommend All Ears Net. All right, Scope, that's the most disturbing thing.
Oh, my God. I know. I agree.
God.
I knew I'd
I know.
stop you on that.
I thought about it, but just no.
I don't even want to think about it. Hello. Get out of my head. Get out of my head. Get out of my head. Oh, that's disgusting.
Okay.
Can we do this whole show over?
My God.
So, I mean, All Ears Net has a great option over there because they have a full list of all the restaurants there, and you can pretty much that's the best list I can think of. Can you guys think of anywhere else that you have? The only option I should mention, and this is not a shameless plug, but in Len's unofficial guide to Walt Disney World, there's a page that has listed their counter service and full service. So if you
There
have
you
the
go.
book, that could solve all your problems, right, Len?
Exactly. Every single problem, including psoriasis.
That's right. The unofficial guide is the source of and solution to all of life's problems.
Most of all, it's nice.
Very good. So we thank Net for that last email, and that's all Mike Newell. To the other two people, sorry, Newell didn't pick you. Maybe next time.
Oh, now I'm going to
We
get
have lovely
an email.
consolation prizes.
That's right.
Thanks for playing.
That's it for us today. Don't forget that this episode of Walt Disney World Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, the official travel agency of Walt Disney World Today. And they've got a great staff of professional agents who can help you plan your next trip to Walt Disney World, make it easier on you to come down to Walt Disney World, and make your next trip that much easier on you. So if you want to make it easier on yourself, give them a try. Visit them at www.mousefantravel.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World website at www.today.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, and the fabulous Annette Owens, I'm Matt Hochberg.